Okay, welcome to Generative Work. I'll just do a quick intro. My name is Ted Kauk, and on this channel, we're really focused on teaching people to build thoughtfully with AI to achieve novel and superior outcomes while also nurturing human development. And we've been doing some demos online with structured notes where we're trying to leverage the power of AI to enable people to offload some of their cognitive load. And excited to be joined by Andy, who's a member of our audience and who reached out and was interested in testing the application with a specific use case. So I'm going to welcome Andy to the show and let Andy introduce himself and just share a bit about why he was interested in coming to talk to us about structured notes.
Well, it's a pleasure, Ted. It's such a funny time that we're living in that you can just have these aha moments at kind of any given moment. And I really had one when I was looking at your product. I saw structured notes, and I know you were just taking your dog to the groomer, but for me, I had this click to say, whoa, there's something else going on here. Ted is offloading a lot of other stuff that he's thinking about, and he's using his app to do it, and it's incredible. There's a condition within type 1. So a little background, I have type 1 diabetes. And it is a condition where, we are constantly using whatever we can to help us administer our information to take our medicine. Problem is, it's a lot of decisions. So what we often experience is something called the diabetes burnout, where we are having so much time that we're spending to do this throughput of all these decisions. The number being thrown out is 180 decisions a day that we have to make to think about things like what we're eating each day, and then how much insulin we take for that. If we are doing exercise, any type of movement at all, if we have any cortisol, so such as stress or illness, we have to make these decisions, and then we have to account for that as well as a whole number of other factors. So playing this out into different scenarios, I might be on a very different regimen if I have a sick day. And I might be in a very different regimen if I am on travel. And so as a person with diabetes, I have to think about my health in different scenarios. I need to think about my health on a normal day. I need to think about my health on a sick day. And I need to think about my health on a travel day. Those are just some examples of some of the scenarios that I have to think about. But in each one of those, I'm usually coordinating across a suite of, these days, applications on my phone. So I'll be working with one application for blood sugar. I'll be working on another application for insulin dosing. I'll probably be working on another application for food. And added to that, there's also life. Now, the real gap here is that those apps kind of miss that last piece of your life. We have so many things that we're thinking about. It's such a busy world that we're living in that we have things like calendars, maybe multiple calendars. We got about where we're traveling. So if we're going to, someplace different, we need to think about, do we have a medical infrastructure for someone like me that's able to support you in the event that anything were to happen? So a lot of different risk factors. My background, other than having an interest in digital health that I've been involved with, is that I'm also a risk manager. So my day job is I manage risks, and I do that through enterprise risk management, where we look at the risks that you face in different parts of an organization and how they all come together across the enterprise. Looking at that, I saw this huge gap, which was our lives, and that so many apps that are out there in the health space, they're focused on one piece of your health. And a lot of that might have to do with perhaps they had to go through a specific channel for FDA regulation, or maybe they just had something very specific they were thinking about. With AI, I do feel like the change may be the ability to ingest with so much more context your actual life, which was what was really, really missing. And so seeing your app, Ted, and the connectivity that you were bringing together across the agentic space really resonated with me, because that for me was the gap that has been missing, and the ability to operate again in the unstructured realm as well, to say not just a number, because for example, for diabetes, we have one number, the HbA1c, which is thought the definitive indicator of health. However, the truth is much more nuanced. We usually have other aspects of our health that we're thinking about. Perhaps you have complications that you've developed down the road. So it's a very complex picture, which is perfect for AI. And so I'll pause a little bit there, Ted, if that hopefully gives you background.
No, it's great background. And what I was thinking is maybe we could actually take what you just said and actually let's see if we can actually create a workflow that might be helpful for you, right, in this day-to-day kind of management of your health. And so we want to take you over there and maybe do that in just a second.
Perfect.
Okay, well, we're taking a look at the structured notes application here, and we really created this with the perspective of, yes, giving people a chance to capture information wherever they are, whenever they are, with the idea that generative AI can help us to structure that if it has the appropriate data model kind of in the middle between what we capture and what we want to do with it after. And so this idea of capture, structure, and then create is kind of seamlessly integrated into the application. And so one of the things that we could do is we can actually use the agentic functions in the application to create a new workflow. And so at the beginning of that, it would be sort of defining from your perspective what information you would need to capture in your individual situation with this medical journey, or I guess we could call it, and in your particular use case. So what I'll do is I'll actually just, I'm in a collection here where we'll capture all the information. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and let you describe in plain language what information you're trying to capture on a repeatable basis. So let me kick it off and go ahead.
All right. Some things I need to capture on a routine basis would be the amount of supplies that I need. There are a lot of supplies that I need to order, and I need to make sure that I always have a steady stream of all of my medical devices and any medications. I also need to make sure that I'm staying aware of any upcoming medical appointments and that I make sure that I have them scheduled and routed through my insurance. On a day-to-day is another level where I need to make sure that I'm monitoring my blood sugar, my insulin, my exercise, and stress levels.
Yeah, a lot of information to keep track of. So I'm going to actually stop the recording there, and I'm just going to save this note. And while it's saving, what we'll do is we'll actually go over to the agent, or we could actually go to the templates here. And what templates allow you to do is to create a particular way of tracking different types of information, so that when you speak out loud, it's going to actually put it into the right format. And so if we went back to the note that you just created, and in fact it's already kind of structured the information that you shared in a way that's easy to understand. We can actually go back to the raw script if we want to. But from this, we can actually just come to the agent, and rather than creating the template manually, what we'll do is we'll try to create a template for you, just having the agent create it for us. So I'll talk to the agent here, and I'll say, okay, well, we have identified a template we want to create, and the information that's needed to create that template is in the following note. And so what we should see happening is the agent is going to read the note that's based on what you just said, and it's going to create a template, which is basically a repeatable way for us to capture this information. And so it's very easy in this application to create those templates and then to make them actionable. And going from that capture, structure, create, you can imagine not just capturing it, but then taking that information and doing things with it, right? Whether that's creating recurring documents, things that you need to send to your physician, to other people who are in your network or people who are supporting you. And so it's going ahead and it's creating that template. And so I'm going to approve this workflow to create the template, and we should see this happen relatively quickly.
So this is really interesting.
Okay, so it's created a plan, and now it's going to go ahead and create the template. Okay, so now we can see the template's been created, and what we should be able to go ahead and do is go ahead and have you create another note this time pretending as if you're doing the data dump, and we'll see how it does capturing the information in the structured way that you're looking for. So we'll come back to the medical journey use case where we capture that first note. And we're going to just let you now, instead of telling it what you want to capture on a repeatable base, let's give an example of you doing this in real time.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So I know that I am running low on some of my medications, and that's something that I'm going to need to follow up with my insurer to make sure that I have full coverage on that. I also know that I have a test coming up for an AI certification, and that's going to require an ADA exemption to make sure that I'm able to take that test safely. Finally, I have a trip coming up to France, and I want to make sure that I've got enough medications to take with me.
Great. And usually does a very good job of capturing the transcript, but you can always go in and edit if you see something that's not quite right. So I noticed it said NDA instead of ADA. And so I'm actually just going to make that quick change. I think it'll pick it up out of context anyway, but just in case. And so then we have this new template that we've created, which is the medical and health daily tracker, which is the one that was created based on your first note. And so now when we save and process this note, it should actually use that data model as the data model for capturing this information. So let's just see how we do. Of course, you can adjust these things. So if it's not perfect on the first time, this should show you the art of the possible. So what it's done is it tells us the date that note was created, it's categorized them under supply management, upcoming appointments, and additional notes. How do we do here? What would you want to improve about this going forward?
Looking good. Following up with insurer for medication coverage is good, and then ordering and refilling the medications. I'm glad that it caught that as well. And sure enough, medication for France trip. So let's see. It got the AI certification test, but it didn't mention anything about follow-up on that. I think that's the only thing to see that maybe that would have been good if it caught. Other than that, it caught, trip to France. So that's good awareness. So it did a really good job.
And then again, this is the structured version, but it still has the raw text of what you recorded as well. So it's a good way to actually go back and see how did it do, and do we want to improve the template, or do we want to do something else with it? And once we have that, then we can again do anything that we want to do with this information. Again, we can immediately create documents or presentations, and it's really based on your underlying data. For example, you could come into the chat and you could select that notice, all of your notes in that collection as something that you want to chat with. And so let's say we wanted to go to the medical journey collection. You'd be able to actually use that as context for any future conversations that you would want to have about historical records and those kinds of things. Or you can use the agent as well to organize that information, or to surface information or patterns that might be happening over time. But just a quick demo of, I think one of the reasons you reached out was to like raise this use case up as something that might be helpful for you. So hopefully you're seeing this as maybe a potential use case for within this application.
I certainly am. This is really helpful. This is really encouraging to see what it can do of taking all of these things that there's the things that we think about, and then there's all the other contexts that maybe we forget. And so I love the idea of it structuring and hopefully overlaying that with things like the calendar. I think would be the other thing we'd be really interested to see.
Well, great. Well, this is the kind of conversation that we want to have with our audience members. So as they identify use cases and they want to test things out, welcome people to reach out and comment on this, and just remember to like and subscribe. And Andy, thank you again for coming on. It was really a pleasure to talk to you for a few minutes just today.
Absolutely, Ted. This was really great to see, and thanks so much for letting me share my use case with you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.